Legend of Total War here, and today I'd like to continue the conversation around Medieval 2 Total War Remastered, this petition, and also address some of the criticism that's been sent this way, which all of it is perfectly valid. I just want to talk about it, that's all. First thing is I want to thank everyone that has signed the petition. We're currently up to 3,411 signatures. It's a good start, but we've got a long way to go. This is not going to be an easy project, but honestly, one of the reasons why I took this on was because it wasn't going to be easy. Because it was easy that anyone would do it. Anyone would just set up a petition and just get done. I took it on because of time, because those are the rewarding projects to do. It's kind of like, think of it like a disaster battle, right? The most satisfying disaster battles aren't the easy ones, right? They're the ones that look fucking nigh impossible. And we attempt them, and we just manage to scrape through, and it just feels really satisfying. And that's basically what this is here. It's a nigh impossible situation, but I don't think it's actually impossible. But it also depends on how hard we fight for it. And there's going to be a lot of people that will immediately roll over and go, too hard, it's never going to happen, and just be defeated before they've even stepped onto the battlefield. And that's fine, that's to be expected, but if too many people are like that, then we don't stand a chance. So I'm asking people just not to just be defeated straight away. We might be defeated, but just don't roll over and die immediately. Alright, so I'm going to go over to the Total War subreddit where the petition was posted. This guy here posted the petition, didn't mention my name whatsoever. That's great. You don't want to mention me, because there were some other people that did, and they got downvoted into oblivion. This is the way to go about it, because you don't want to make the conversation around Legend of Total War. You want to make the conversation around the remaster. That's what it's about. I'm not relevant to this at all. So the most common criticism that I saw was, why not make Medieval 3? This is a perfectly valid question. It's actually a great question. Why not just make Medieval 3? Forget about Medieval 2 Remastered. Why don't we just get Medieval 3? So there's so many ways you can answer this question, and we kind of need to answer it in every bloody way we possibly can. And the reason why is because in order to convince the widest portion of people, they're going to have different reasons as to why they want Medieval 3 as opposed to Medieval 2 Remastered, or not. So, first thing is, Medieval 2 Remastered would be developed by Feral Interactive, right? So not by Creative Assembly itself. That way, hypothetically, Medieval 3 and Remastered could be developed simultaneously. Now, based on... We've got to base things off a number of assumptions, because we don't know what Creative Assembly is up to. And we have to talk about things in terms of how likely something is and how unlikely something is. Now, that doesn't mean it's a guaranteed going to happen, but I think a lot of people are assuming that Medieval 3 is coming fairly soon. And I think that is unlikely, because people have been requesting Medieval 3 for more than 10 years. And it usually doesn't take 10 years to develop a Total War game. I don't think there's been any Total War game that's taken 10 years to develop, aside from Total War Warhammer, if you consider it all the way back to Warhammer 1, right? At least we've essentially been in early access all this time. So Creative Assembly have, for the most part, been ignoring the community about a desire for a sequel to Medieval 2 for a very long time. But the events of 2023 changed things dramatically. But Creative Assembly never said anything about there being a Medieval 3 in the pipeline. It's all just been loose rumors here and there. And rumors are lies until they've been proven otherwise. You know, I know that all too well at this stage here. So I think it's fair to think that Medieval 3 is on the way, but we don't know for sure. It may or may not. But I think that the most logical conclusion is that if Medieval 3 is on the way, it's not on the way soon. We're probably looking at 2027 at the earliest. So this is the timeline as far as I can tell, based on the evidence that I've seen and the rumors that are going around, is that there is going to be no new Total War game come out this year. unless it's like a remaster. Like they might actually already be working on Medieval 2 Remastered. I have no idea. Wouldn't this be funny? All of this friggin' effort, and Medieval 2 Remastered is like 99% complete, and they're about to announce it. Wouldn't that be fucking hilarious? And I'd be thrilled if that's the case. That is the best case scenario as far as I'm concerned. That Medieval 2 Remastered is like 2 weeks away. Based on what I've heard, that doesn't seem to be the case, but I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. But anyway, so in regard to the timeline, as far as it looks based on the evidence that I can see, because that's all I can do. I can only base it on the evidence that I'm aware of. I can't base it on evidence that I'm not aware of, right? Anyway, there doesn't appear to be a new Total War game coming out this year. Doesn't appear to be. There will be an announcement of the next Total War game this year, later down the track, and that announcement will be announcing Total War Warhammer 40k. And that game will be coming out in 2026. That game is going to make Creative Assembly a bucket load of money, even if it is complete horseshit. Because the Warhammer 40k community they're not smart spenders, basically. So it's a cash cow that's bigger than Total War Warhammer, like the Warhammer Fantasy community. And that was a cash cow for them as well. But that cash cow is starting to run dry. So moving on to 40k. But anyway, so that'll come out. That'll probably make them loads of money, even if it's complete garbage. And that's 2026. They're not going to release any other game to get in the way of that. Then, in 2027, they'll obviously move on to the DLC cycle of Warhammer 40k, assuming that is the case. 2027, we may or may not get another Total War game. We're probably not going to see another Saga game. The Sagas are done and dusted. People don't want to see them anymore. And I think Creative Assembly has realized that. So, if Medieval 3 is the next historical Total War game, which we don't know, it's probably late 2027, possibly 2028, or maybe even later than that. Because Total War games, or just games in general from big studios, don't take 18 months to produce anymore. They take like 4, 5, 6 years, just because of how long it takes to actually make all the visuals for these games. It takes a long time. So yeah, I doubt that this would be a quick turnaround for Medieval 3, because this has to be like their return to form with Medieval 3, if that is what they're going to do. I don't think it's going to be another Warhammer reskin. I think they've pushed this engine as far as they possibly can. We're seeing that with Total War Warhammer 3 right now. Every time they fix a bug, another 2 bugs come out. Like, that engine is just at the edge of its limits. Making another historical Total War game off that engine, they can't do that. They've got to strip it down and actually make a new engine, I guess. So that all takes time. Whereas a remaster doesn't take that long. So if, let's just say hypothetically, the remaster isn't in development right now, and then we get 50,000, 100,000 signatures, Creative Assembly sees it and goes, whew, the Medieval 2 community, they really want to see a remaster. Well, you know what, let's just go ahead with it. Tell Feral that they can go ahead. I mean, they had already got the files for Medieval 2 because they've been working on it, and they've moved on to Empire Total War even now. Go ahead, make the remaster. Maybe they get it done in, say, 12 months. I don't know. I don't know what the time frame is on this. We've got to keep in mind that the entirety of Medieval 2 was developed in like 18 months as well, because it was just a reskin of Rome 1. But anyway, so let's just say they get that done in about... Let's just say they do it on the 20th anniversary of Medieval 2. So that's November 10th or 13th, something like that, 2026. So this would be after Warhammer 40k comes out, right? But before Medieval 3 would have even been announced. They get this one out, and it comes out, and hopefully it's at least half decent, which, in my opinion, if they do all of the things that they did for Rome Remastered right off the bat, for Medieval 2, it should be a slam dunk, for the most part. I don't expect them to fix up the AI. Some people do expect them to do that. You got to keep in mind, the more resources that they have to dedicate into the remaster, the longer it's going to take to do, and to some degree, the less profitable it's going to be for them. So just basically graphically re-enhancing it and making it more stable so it can actually access all the cores in your processor and access more than 2 gigabytes of RAM, and then, remove the modding restrictions like what they did with Rome Remastered. That will be enough to completely revitalize Medieval 2 and keep the historical fans happy with Medieval 2 for about a year, hopefully. And what this will do is act as a big advertisement for Total War, right? Because right now, Total War is not trending at all. There are just other games are taking the space. People will often say things like, "Oh, Creative Assembly doesn't have, well, Total War doesn't have any it doesn't have any competitors. They've got a monopoly." Yep, they've got a monopoly. It's a shit monopoly, and people are not paying in much attention to it because they've just had such a bad track record recently. What Creative Assembly needs is a historical win, and as far as what I can see, this is the easiest path for them to get a guaranteed win. Just do exactly what you did for Rome Remastered. For this, guaranteed win. That's what I think. But in order to be convinced that it's a guaranteed win, we've got to get signatures in there. Because if Creative Assembly sees... Basically, at the moment, the way this would look at this is that there is a guaranteed 3,411 sales. That's not enough to justify it. But that's only after a day. I reckon with this, we can probably get it to 10,000. So, that's probably not enough. But you need to get it high enough that they could sort of guarantee the sales of it. Because it's probably going to cost more than Rome Remastered because of inflation and all this other bullshit. But yeah, as far as I can see, it's an easy way to just get a historical win prior to actually Medieval 3. Now, going back to Medieval 3, we've got to keep in mind as well, what company are we dealing with? It's Creative Assembly. They've got a terrible track record, right? So many of the comments in the previous video, and these are completely valid, and I completely agree with you, were saying that they have no confidence that Creative Assembly would actually make a spiritual successor to Medieval 2 and it be even half decent. Because that's the track record that they've had. You've got to go back and remember Rome 2, right? Rome 1 and Rome 2 are vastly different games. And when Rome 2 came out, it was not good. It was bare bones, so many stripped features, and it took them fucking ages to get things to where it is now. And even then, the modders had to help out so much in providing amazing mods like Divide et Impera to keep that game alive. And the thing is, you've already got dedicated mods for Medieval 2, basically that could just really use the graphical enhancements. Think about this. Imagine Stainless Steel 6.4, but on an entire world scale. Because they're limited based on number of settlements currently, which is currently what is able to be done with Rome Remastered. There's no, I think it was an Imperium Surrectum. I'm not entirely sure. That mod has 1,700 settlements, and it goes all the way from Spain all the way to India. It's gigantic. I've never played it because I don't have time. But I'm honestly tempted to because there's so many territories, and there's unlimited amount of factions that they can create. I want that for Medieval 2, for Stainless Steel 7.4 or 8.4 or whatever their numbering system works for it. It's not so much that I want to see Medieval 2 Total War Remastered vanilla. I can't wait to see what the mods do for this and just keep this game, keep this franchise trending. That's the important thing. Their older games are advertisements for their newer games as well, and get some of the old fans back, and not so many people are in complete despair about Creative Assembly's abilities because they just haven't had a good track record. Like I said, get an easy win with this one, even if they don't even make a profit from it, from direct sales. Just getting people interested in the game again could provide dividends over time. Whereas when they do things like whenever they've done a controversy in the past, and there's a lot of them, every time they've done that, they've fucked future sales for themselves. Like the Blood Pack, for example. Just using this as an example, by trying to squeeze every last dollar that they can out of the community, they've probably in the long term fucked their sales, because every little slight that a company does to piss off their fan base, everyone has a line in the sand that you can't cross. And for some people, it's the Blood Pack. For some other people, it was the Warriors of Chaos early adopter bonus. Every time you do something scummy, that you put something behind a paywall that you shouldn't, you're gonna lose people that are fans of your franchise. And eventually, if you're losing more fans than you're generating new ones, you're eventually not going to be able to sell anything, because there's just going to be no one left. And we're at that point right now with the historical Total War games. They've fucked off so many fans by their disgusting behavior over the past 10 years. They don't have They've got like hardly any fucking fans left. They've got to get a win before they pull what is potentially the biggest game they've ever made. And they can't just make this one here their Hail Mary. Because if they announced Medieval 3 tomorrow, right? What do you think the majority of the community is going to be? Of course, they're going to say, shut up and take my money. But there's going to be a lot of people say, I don't trust this company to have actually done a good job with this. That was a huge portion of the comments in the previous video. And if Creative Assembly is watching this video, and they are making Medieval 3, you have got to win back the fans before you release Medieval 3. And you've got to make sure Medieval 3 is actually good. Because if they haven't won back the fans, and Medieval 3 does come out, and it's amazing, people will hear about it, and they'll come back. But they're also going to want to get pre-orders. And let me tell you right now, I ain't pre-ordering anything from Creative Assembly, and neither should you as well. If they want to convince people to pre-order, they've got to win back that community favor. Now, they may have done that with the Warhammer side of things. I think that for the most part, the Warhammer fans are pretty content at the moment, so they'll be fine with 40k. But for the historical side of things, and that's what I'm really focusing on here, they've completely lost the plot. They've lost their fans completely. Like, I talk to people that are just purely historical fans, and they fucking don't give a shit about Creative Assembly. They're not angry at Creative Assembly, which, if they were angry at them, that's actually better than what they've currently got, which is apathy. We are currently in the most apathetic time for historical Total Wars that there ever has been. People don't give a shit anymore because there's other companies that are doing things now. They're not exactly Total War games, but they're still great games. Now, going back to Oblivion, right? There were a couple of comparisons, a couple of people saying that, well, you can't really compare Medieval 2 to Oblivion. They're vastly different games. Completely missing the point that comparing where they're similar, not about the actual gameplay. But anyway, let's compare Bethesda and Creative Assembly, right? Bethesda is a much bigger company than Creative Assembly. They're owned by Microsoft, pretty sure, right? Creative Assembly are sort of a mid-sized, but still a pretty big development company, and they're owned by Sega. Obviously, you can't compare the two, right? Creative Assembly, sorry, let's go with Bethesda first. Bethesda, they use their creation engine, and they basically make the same game over and over again. You know, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Starfield, it's all in the creation engine. And they basically have the same issues over and over again. They just basically update the graphics between each game. And then on the complete opposite side of things, you've got Creative Assembly. Then they have got their Warscape engine. And, you know, they've just been, they've been completely different scenario. They've been taking their engine and they've been basically just changing the graphics of it, but the gameplay remains basically the same between iterations. So obviously these two can't be compared at all. They're vastly different companies. They don't do the same thing whatsoever. You know, the thing is with Bethesda and Creative Assembly is that they do the exact same stuff. They're the same. It's just the difference is the genre of the games that they make, and the scale that the company is, and also the specifics. Like, for example, Bethesda would sell you horse armor as a DLC. And Creative Assembly, they would never do that, right? That's totally off limit to them. Instead, what they would do is they would sell you blood as a separate DLC, or the Warriors of Chaos as a separate DLC, right? So you just can't compare the two completely different companies. Now, when it comes to Oblivion Remastered, what has that done for Bethesda? Now, Bethesda has a terrible reputation. What was like the last game that they released, like proper Bethesda RPG? It was Starfield. Starfield, look, a lot of people criticize me over Starfield. I don't hate it. I understand why a lot of people think it's shit. And as far as a Bethesda game, well, as far as an RPG is concerned, yeah, it's got a lot of problems, especially after playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm just like, I could never go back to Starfield. Like, the load times, or the fact that there's just so many, like, it's just not an open world game at all. It's not a good game, right? Even if for someone who didn't hate it. You know, I enjoyed most of what I played with Starfield, but you know, I can recognize it's not very good. They've got a bit of a bad reputation, Bethesda. They haven't had a good run of things, and so they've released Oblivion 4 as a remaster, which was again outsourced by another company, so they did all the work. But you know, this was a pretty substantial remaster, and now people are kind of praising Bethesda to a degree. But luckily for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, right? That there's no new Elder Scrolls that's been announced, right? That's not happening. We don't have an Elder Scrolls 6 announcement that's coming anytime soon. So don't worry. The Elder Scrolls 4 is not going to take away sales from the next Elder Scrolls game. Because, you know, the thing is with an Elder Scrolls game is that the gameplay is, like, completely different. You know, it's just a different time period. It's just they don't play the same at all. I don't know. I'm being obviously very sarcastic with this kind of stuff here. So I'm hoping by me being sarcastic in sort of a humorous way, you can kind of see that there are so many similarities between Bethesda and Creative Assembly, and even between Total War and the Elder Scrolls games. Not in terms of the gameplay. If you focus on one area where they're not similar, then you won't see the ways that they are similar, right? They're similar in terms of the patterns that the developers use to produce these games in a serialized manner. They're not similar in terms of the number of sales that are made. Obviously, Elder Scrolls are significantly, they sell shitloads more than Total War games, but that's always been the case. And there's no reason to expect that degree of scale couldn't remain the same, essentially. But what I'm hoping for with this is that Creative Assembly get a fucking win. Just get a damn win, so that before you release your next game, people aren't saying that you're a total dogshit company and as much as they are currently, right? Which is a lot. Anyway, so with the Medieval 2 Remastered Petition, here's some more hypotheticals for you, right? Is there any scenario where signing this petition here is actually going to hurt Creative Assembly? The answer is no. The only thing it hurts is their ego. It's the only thing that hurts them, right? And that doesn't matter. If anything, we should be smashing that into a fucking pulp even further after the way that they behaved in the 2023, or even the last 10 years for that matter, right? They don't need to have an ego. Whenever they get a massive ego, they go and do really anti-consumer bullshit. We want them to not have confidence in themselves, basically. So that's the worst case scenario with it. Because, again, hypotheticals. If Medieval 2 Remastered is already in development, and it's 2 weeks away, well, this doesn't stop it from being made. Unless, of course, they look at this and go, ooh, maybe we've made a mistake. Maybe we should halt the production on this. I doubt it. If it's not in development and we get loads of signatures and then they go, okay, I think we can make we can make progress on this and go ahead with it, and maybe we'll make some money. And maybe Legend makes a good point that we do need to get a win in. And even if it's not a massive, huge financial success for us, it can be a PR success for us and a return to form right before we, release Medieval 3. It could be good advertising for us. Because the thing is, if you played Medieval 2, you probably, and you really enjoy Medieval 2, and you've got 10,000 hours of Medieval 2, and Medieval 3 is coming out, and it looks amazing, I don't think you're not going to get Medieval 3 because of it. Like, I just think about what it was like for me in the past, right? When I first got Medieval 1, right? There wasn't that much of a time difference between me getting Medieval 1 and Medieval 2, because I didn't get into the franchise when it first came out. I got Medieval 1, purchased it played it for the first time in 2004, maybe late 2004, right? So a few years after it came out. After playing Medieval 1, I liked it a lot. I immediately bought Rome 1, loved it. And then as soon as I bought Rome 1, which was, it had already been out for a while before I even purchased it, Medieval 2 was announced. And I didn't think to myself, Medieval 2, well, I've already played this many hours of Medieval 1. Well, I don't want to play Medieval 2. No, Medieval 2 was the first game I ever pre-ordered. In fact, I pre-ordered 2 copies of Medieval 2 because me and my best friend, we both wanted the game that much. So having a really good game come out before your main title comes out can be really, really good advertisement for your future game. As long as the games have actually got legs. So, again, circling back to the main thing here, why not just make Medieval 3? Creative Assembly probably could just make Medieval 3. But is it going to be their best option? And is Medieval 3 even going to be good? And do we even know if Medieval 3 is even on their timeline to be made? Because we've had no announcements from Creative Assembly. We usually don't find out about things until 6 months before they come out. They're not like Bethesda in that way by a very large degree. Whereas Bethesda will announce that they're developing Elder Scrolls 6, was it 6 years ago? You got to wait a really long time. Creative Assembly doesn't do that. They don't say, we're making Medieval 3. And then it's like, then nothing for 6 years or whatever. When we start hearing about Medieval 3, it's almost finished. And usually by that point, it's either good or bad, and there's nothing we can do about it at that point. So what I'm hoping by doing all this stuff here is by trying to be as proactive as possible to put pressure on Creative Assembly so that they constantly do the best they possibly can. Because at the end of the day, that's what benefits everyone. It benefits Creative Assembly, it benefits us as players, and nobody else matters. So, my hope is, just get the games that we want. That's what I'm hoping for. And obviously, Medieval 2 is not what everybody wants, but that is the case of every single Total War game. There has never been a Total War game where 100% of anyone who's ever bought a Total War game is like interested in it. That's just never going to happen and never has happened. But based on the analytics that I showed the other day, Medieval 2 is currently one of the most popular old games, way more popular even than Rome 1, and would probably sell a hell of a lot better than Rome Remastered. And people are super hungry for it, but also apathetic towards Creative Assembly. So that's sort of the angles that I'm going for with that. Hopefully I've covered about as much as I can with the whole, why not just make Medieval 3? They can make Medieval 3 and Remastered simultaneously. That can get done first while they're still developing this. And they can put that, maybe they can put more time. Maybe what they could do is put the profits from Medieval 2 Remastered into Medieval 3 to make it a little bit better. I don't know. They'd probably just put it into to their CEO's pocket so they can buy another golden Lamborghini or something. I don't know. Well, whatever floats the boat, I guess. But yeah, I'm just hoping for Creative Assembly to get a win. I know that a lot of people think that I just want Creative Assembly to up and die and stuff, but that's just never been true. I'm always rooting for them to succeed. It's just that I don't see them as succeeding when they keep making stupid decisions. Now, that being said, we don't know what they're doing. They haven't made a stupid decision in a long time. It's just that I'm wary that if they've made a stupid decision, it's maybe too late to do anything about it, which has always been the case in the past. Never been able to get ahead of things. Was not able to get ahead of things with Thrones of Britannia. I wasn't able to get ahead of things with the Realms of Chaos. There was just nothing I could do to get them to reverse course on that, and it was way too fucking late to do anything about Total War Pharaoh because we just didn't know what was going on. And by getting ahead of things and by doing these petitions, it doesn't hurt Creative Assembly in any meaningful way whatsoever, and in fact provides them with useful information, hopefully, on what is and isn't going to work for them, as long as they're willing to put in the effort. I personally think that a Medieval 2 Remastered can be done really friggin' well by Feral Interactive. They demonstrated that they can do it. I have confidence in them that they can do it. It's an easy win, as long as people are actually willing to buy it, and that's why the signatures are important. And it just covers all of our bases because we just have so many unknowns. I think sitting on our hands going, yeah, just trusting Creative Assembly, they're probably going to do a good job, is probably the most delusional thing that we can do, because history has shown us that is not what happens. The more that you trust Creative Assembly, the more that they are going to let you down. I know from personal experience, and it's so unfortunate that I have to say that, but that is just my truth with Creative Assembly, and the truth of many people. The more you trust them, the more that they will let you down. So you've got to force their hand and tell them exactly and as forcefully as possible, make this one, make Medieval, stop making more Bronze Age games, stop making these obscure saga games, god damn it, stop making the Blood Pack. You've got to ram it down their fucking throat before they understand it, and you've got to be super bloody aggressive, but also, respectful, okay, to some degree, and that's one area where I've failed at before, and that's why when doing this, I made sure to write it via AI as opposed to me, because I get into a frenzy. I'm no good having a conversation with them one-on-one. That's why I don't bother with it anymore. I get into a fucking frenzy. It's happened way too many times. So yeah, I just get the AI to do it, I guess. All right, so next thing to do is people write, why not just make Medieval 3? Let's get to it, shall we? Yep, we're gonna create another petition. Please make Medieval 3 Total War. Why is it personal to me? Medieval 2 is my favorite historical Total War game. Hang on. It's been nearly 19 years. I'd like a sequel. And let's see what they write up about this. But yeah, I'm fully aware that I'm never going to be the right person to sit on a one-on-one conversation with Creative Assembly and try to explain this to them. It's never going to work. Just because of the way I am. Anyway. So request Sega to develop Medieval 3 Total... No. Okay, so as the AI... they got this wrong. Sega doesn't do it. Hang on. Creative Assembly to develop Medieval 3 Total War. Medieval 2 Total War holds a special place in my heart as my favorite historical Total War game. Nearly 19 years have passed since its release, and its engaging gameplay and historical depth continue to captivate players around the globe, showcasing the tremendous potential of the Total War series. The dedicated community that has grown around Medieval 2 is a testament to its enduring appeal. Players have spent countless hours exploring the rich tapestry of medieval history, strategizing battles, and managing flourishing empires. The game has sparked a passion for history and strategy games, becoming a cornerstone for fans who relish the mix of real-time tactics and turn-based strategy games. See, I didn't put that in there. So that's like the ChatGPT just does like a fucking Google search and understands what this game is right away. It's pretty interesting how to do that. How the absence of a sequel has left a notable gap in the market in the hearts of its loyal fans. Absolutely it has. And I'll tell you what, just fucking get ChatGPT to run Creative Assembly and I guarantee you will get better fucking games. Like, not develop the games. Get them to decide what game to actually make next. Get ChatGPT to do it. Maybe that'll be the next petition. Replace Creative Assembly CEO with ChatGPT. Because then you wouldn't have to pay them, like, I don't know how much they get paid, but probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds per year. Anyway, the gaming industry has evolved tremendously over nearly 2 decades, and so have the possibilities for creating an even more immersive experience. With advancements in AI, yeah, for Creative Assembly, there has not been advancements in AI, so I'm gonna with advancements in graphics, I'm gonna cut that one out because there hasn't been any advancements. With advancements in graphics mechanics, it's time to harness this potential to bring Medieval 3 to life. Not only would it reignite the passion of longtime fans, but it would also attract new generations of gamers generation of gamers eager to delve into the rich historical world of the Middle Ages. Sega and the developers at Creative Assembly, see, they understood that, they just didn't put it in over here. Sega and the developers at Creative Assembly have a golden opportunity to expand the legacy of Medieval 2 by crafting a sequel that builds on its own strength while incorporating innovative features to captivate both veteran players and newcomers alike. Join me in urging Sega to invest in the development of Medieval 3. See, that statement there does make sense because it would be Sega that has to greenlight it, so it's not Sega to invest. That is the right wording of it. It's not urging Sega to develop it because they don't, but Sega needs to invest in Creative Assembly to develop Medieval 3, and so they got that right. Medieval 3 Total War. By coming together, we can show the strong demand for the sequel and encourage the iconic franchise to continue telling the compelling stories of medieval warfare and politics. Please sign this petition to make our collective voice heard and bring back our beloved series with a new chapter that resonates with history enthusiasts and gamers alike. I don't think I need to add anything more to that. I think they got almost all of it right. Obviously, I had to omit a bit that was pure bullshit. There has been no advancement in AI. Not really. Well, I know. Well, the thing is, maybe there has been, and Creative Assembly would probably be quite offended by me omitting that, but let's be real. The same complaints are being made today as there was 20 years ago. Total War is not known for having great AI. What the appeal of Total War is the I guess how the game actually plays out in terms of turn-based strategy and real-time tactics, and that you get to sort of create your own destiny. But if you're looking for an actual challenge, then you really need to go and play a head-to-head campaign because you need to find another human. Creative Assembly, I doubt, is investing into amazing AI. Largely, you know, I don't have a problem with them not doing that because I don't think that would actually make for more sales of a Total War game, because I think that's largely a fringe effort of veteran players that want that. Anyway, so we're gonna go with that. I'll have to edit a video. Image. So I'll get that done before I post this video. It'll only take me a few minutes. It'll basically just be the same one as last time, except I'll somehow make it look like Medieval 3. It'll be easy to do. I'll just like edit it a little bit. It's easy. You can do that in Paint. And okay, I'm just gonna pause this bit while I do the final steps of the petition. Okay, all good. I did have to put in a few details there, so that's why I didn't want to show it. So by doing this, what I'm hoping, whatever, I don't freaking care. Let's go on. I want basically this petition and the one I did yesterday to be in competition with each other. So, request Creative Assembly to develop Medieval 3 Total War. Right. So that's in contrast to petition to... Hang on. Where's my previous one? I'll just click this. So these are the two petitions here, right? So remaster and revive Medieval 2 Total War for improved gameplay experience. Currently at 3,538 signatures. And this one's currently at 0. So that one's got a day's head start. But basically, why not just make Medieval 3? Well, guess what? If you just want Medieval 3, sign this petition. If you just want Medieval 2 Remastered, sign this petition. If you want both, sign both petitions. Because you know what the funny thing is? You can have both. If you make your voices heard and you push hard enough for it, you can have both. It's just a matter of we don't know what the extent that we have to push for it is. It might be something completely unreasonable, or it might be pretty easy. But here's the thing is, right? If you don't fight for these things, you don't know how hard it would have been to actually get it. Sometimes, like I'll give you a real life example. One time, I had a sponsorship lined up, and they made an offer to me, and I was like, "That's a pretty good offer. I'm gonna push it to see how far I can go." And I put in a requirement that I thought was fucking ridiculous. I said they're not gonna accept this, right? And guess what? They straight away accepted it. Fucking benefited me big time, and all I had to do was just request it. And I thought at the time it was unreasonable. The thing, you just don't know how much you can get out of life if you just ask for it. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. There's no, it's not like amoral to do that. It's only amoral if you like, I guess, try to blackmail them into doing it, which we're not. It's not like we're saying here, if you don't make Medieval 2 Remastered, I'm not buying any Total War games ever again. That's not true. I'm totally going to buy Total War Warhammer 40k regardless if they make Medieval 2 Remastered or Medieval 3. I'm definitely going to buy it. So as long as they still make good Total War games, I'm still going to buy them. I really, really fucking hope that they do make Medieval 3 Total War and Medieval 2 Remastered. I mean, that being said, if Medieval 2 Remastered is coming in 2 weeks, this is irrelevant. If Medieval 3 is coming in 2026, this is irrelevant as well. But what this does is it covers our bases. What if it's not coming? What if it's not on their plan to do so? Get those fucking signatures up and let them know that this is the time. This is the time for them to get off their asses and actually do it. And if they are already doing it, this will help reinforce them knowing that they've made the right decision and they shouldn't get offended by it. This is just going to help encourage them along. So there's just no downside to doing it as far as I can see. That being said, if you think that there is a downside to it, apart from, but it hurts their ego, I don't give a shit about that, then by all means let me know in the comments below. Give me some more feedback, because like I said, I want to adjust this as much as possible based on your feedback, and that's the entire reason why I've made this petition here as well. Because like, this person here, completely right. Why not just make Medieval 3? You're totally right. Here you go. Here's a petition for you. Just sign this one. Done. I'll get that image sorted and get this one online as quick as I can. All right, guys, that's the end of this video. Give me some more feedback. Let's just really put some pressure on Creative Assembly to fucking get back to the medieval era and make some good games so that we can so we can purchase some actual good products from them. That's what I want to see, and hopefully we get another a good decade of Total War. That would be the best case scenario for everyone. And I'd love to see a resurgence of historical Total Wars, starting with the medieval era. And then they can go back to the Roman era. As far as I'm concerned, they can even go back to the Bronze Age. Just make the games particularly good. I'll get this number up as well. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys so much for these signatures, especially because we got like 400 signatures while I've been recording this. And hopefully we get somewhere with this. But I'll continue to fight and continue to adjust this based on your feedback. Anyway, appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys.